Okay, thank you. I'd like to call this session of the Board of Revision to order and begin by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Ojibwe, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 41st Nation Treaty 3 territory. My name is Harvey Diamond. I'll be chairing this meeting, and with me today, as other panel members, are Mr. Bill Moretsky and Mr. Kevin Stephenson. The City of Winnipeg Assessment Department is represented by Svetlana Shabel, and our administrator is Zachary Mohan. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note that you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along in the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rolls in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for revision are requests that have been described in each application, and we'll be limiting discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing must be sworn in testimony. Anyone speaking to a matter must first be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered as evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decision on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues written orders that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to an application for exemption from taxation. And should a party wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with our order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony, again followed by any questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish to do so. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The person will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and our board will deliberate in private and make its decisions, which you will receive by virtue of an order that we sent by written mail as soon as possible. Please note that all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of a public record. And today we'll be hearing items 2 to 4, 6, and 8 that are on the docket. And Mr. Mine, you can please swear in the assessor and the first applicant's testimony this time. Thank you.
First, Mr. Chairman. Madam Assessor, please stand. Please state your full name.
Svetlana Shabel.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Assessor.
Abhishek Radhan.
Sorry.
Abhishek Radhan.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. And I believe, and you may come to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just right there. And just remain standing, please. And, I'm sorry, if I can just keep you standing. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
My name is Mohammed Sharif Harian.
Okay, do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may be seated.
I like to pass these last 3 years assessments.
Okay, so I'm assuming that we're dealing then with, first of all, 1395 Notre Dame Avenue. And
Yes.
that being the case, Ms. Shabel, when you're ready, you can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, you may be seated.
The file number is 24-321. Applicant is Sharif Aaron. The roll number of the subject property is 130-990-71940, located at 1395 Notre Dame Avenue, owned by Mumtaz Aaron. The property assessment of the subject property for roll year 2025 is $245,000. using the reference date as April 1, 2023. The property is taxable. The property is currently used as a vehicle service related garage with 2 buildings on it, one built in 1945 and one in 2021. Both the buildings are 1 story each, having 1 premise. Effective year built is 1983 with a zoning of C2, commercial community. The land area is 4,025 square feet with a gross floor area and leasable area has 1,144 square feet. The NCA is 114 Western. We recommend the 2025 assessment value of $245,000. Now, moving over to the page 2. We see the subject property was sold on Jan 29 of 2020 for $106,000. Assessment and Taxation Department was not provided with any lease. Page 2 also consists of some pictures for the subject property. As mentioned earlier, both the properties have 1 story each, which can be seen from the pictures below. On page 3, we see the map of the city of Winnipeg. From that, we can see the property is located in the northeast part of the Winnipeg. On page 4, there is an aerial photograph of the lot showing that it's rectangular in shape. Also, there's another picture showing the land size for the subject property. On page 5, there's an aerial photograph of the subject property showing the top angle view and a view showing the adjacent properties which are owned by the same owner. Moving over to page 6. We see the property is mentioned as a C2 commercial community. C2 commercial zone is intended to accommodate more intensive commercial sites that do not have a local or neighborhood orientation. It is intended to include attractive commercial, institutional, recreational, and service facilities that need to support the surrounding neighborhoods and broader community. Page 7, it represents the ownership of all the 3 parcels that are owned by Mumtaz Aaron. Moving over to page 8. This property is assessed using income approach. There's only 1 premise which is marked as standard furnished with a leasable area of 1,144 square feet with a table rent of $13.96, which bring a potential rent of $15,970. Assessment and Taxation Department used a vacancy law of 2% and an expense rate of 3%. And also a shortfall rate of $6 per square foot. This brings the net operating income as $15,044, which was further capitalized at 6.15%. This brings the market value at $245,000. On the same page 8, there are some rent comparables that we did in the neighborhood of the same NCA. From the table below, we can see that most of the comparables are vehicle service garages, which are similar to the subject property, are in the same actual air built range with the same story size. The square feet for our comparables starts from 2,379 and end up to 5,400 square feet. The mean rent comes to $16.66 and the median comes to $16.24, which is more than our subject property rent. Now let's turn over to page 18 to look at our comparables. The very first comparable that we have is at 340 Pembina Highway. The lot is triangular in shape with 1-story building and have some space for parking. The second comparable is located at 1577 Aaron Street. It's also square in shape with 1-story building on it with an ample space to park. The third comparable is 1940 Logan Avenue, which is rectangular in shape with 1 building on it with ample of parking space. The fourth comparable is 1825 King Edward Street, which is again rectangular in shape with 2-story building in it, but plenty of space. The next comparable is 1765 Sergeant Avenue, which is in a rectangular shape with 2 buildings on it with an ample parking space. All of these comparables are used mostly for vehicle service garages. Now heading over to page 10. We see there is a small study and a chart represented by City of Winnipeg, Colliers, CBRE, and Cushman and Wakefield. They did a study on capitalization rates. Since this property is located in suburban with an OFS, City of Winnipeg has an expectation of cap rate from 5.25 to 6.75, whereas Colliers represent a cap rate at 6 to 7%, CBRE from 6 to 8, Cushman from 6.25 to 7.75. So our cap rate falls between the ranges because we had a cap rate of 6.15%, which is following the reports of other people. On page 12, now we'll be start looking at the assessment of the property using cost approach. In order to replace the cost of this building, it was valued at $124,030. The accrued depreciation on the building was $99,030. Therefore, the depreciated cost of the building is only $25,000. They have a detached structure which was valued at $6,000. So the total depreciated cost of the building was $31,000, and the land value is marked as $217,000, which brings our total value of $248,000. Now, there are some comparables mentioned on page number 13. The comparables are also so there are some land comparables which are vacant residential, vacant commercial. They also follow along in the same NCA. And the land size follows from 2,506 square feet to 15,494 square feet. The mean for the land sale price is $76.40. The median is $82.33. Now, looking back at our subject property, the land area of our subject property is 4,025 square feet, which was valued at $53.91, which is below the average rate found in the market. Yeah, so the total value using cost approach came at $248,000. Now moving over to now looking at some pictures for our land comparables, which are presented at page 22. The first comparable is located at 530 River Avenue, which is rectangular in shape. Now, we did a comparison of older picture with the newer, and we found that the old building was either demolished or was renovated, and there was a new constructed building there, which is bigger in size. The same follows for 653 Macmillan. There was an upgrade in the building, increasing the size of the building. The next property is located in the Queen area, which is currently used as a vacant for commercial lot. There was no construction completed on that property. The next property is at 790 Notre Dame, which is again a vacant commercial lot, and there is no construction done on that area. The next comparable is 265 Osborne Street. There was a small residential house on it, but now it's demoed and there is new construction going to happen. Now, let's go on the page 16 and 17, which also represent there were. So page 16 and 17 has a permit application and a permit issued for addition of the building that was done back in 2019. We have the new addition plans on page 17 and the permit is on page 16, which shows that there was something new constructed on the subject property. So in the end, on page 26, we have the 2025 assessment notice that was presented by City of Winnipeg to the applicant for $245,000. And page 27 has the application filled for the appeal. To conclude, we will request the panel member to maintain the 2025 assessment value.
Thank you. That's your evidence. Okay, Mr. Applicant, if you have any questions of the assessor, you can ask them now.
Yeah, these assessments, Your Honor, they are too far, the Logan and King Edward is very far and that building is 2-3 story building. Mine is very old house, 700 square foot office, and I built a one single garage, small
Excuse
garage.
me, right now you're asking questions. You can ask questions to the assessor. If you want to give your evidence, which I think you're doing right now, you'll have an opportunity of doing so after all the questions are asked. But right now, if you have questions, you can ask them.
Yeah, like, this is only like old small office, like, 700 square foot building, and last 20 year or 10 year, right? I built small garage shop, only 18 by 24 feet, one car fits there. You cannot compare with big shops.
Are you asking a question right now, or are you giving evidence?
Evidence, yeah.
Because you could ask questions. I'll give you an
Yeah.
opportunity. to
But
give
I
you-
don't know how they can increase from 112,000 to 245 when I spend only $30,000 on my little shop, one small shop, one garage shop, one car shop. See, in 2012, here, 2021. 2022 appraised value was 112,500. I don't know in 2 years, how can this?
Excuse me, if you're asking questions, you've got to give the assessor an opportunity of answering the question. I'm not sure what the question is, so I'm sure he's.
Yeah, I'm asking the assessor, how can this property in 2022 to 2025, more than double price? Because I built small shop, only 400 square foot, small little shop, one car shop.
Okay, you asked the question. Let the assessor answer that if you would like, please.
How
Okay,
you can compare these with the building you're talking to me? They're totally different buildings.
for our comparables on page number 8, one-story building.
How big is it?
It's
Which street?
it's on my brief, on page number 8.
Which page number?
8.
Yeah.
Summary table on the bottom. We have 6 comparables. All comparables one floor building. Those comparables on 340 Pembina Highway, built in 1977. Rent for $19.83. Another comparables of 1577 Erin Street, built in 1984, one-story building, less as 3,000 square feet, rent for $17.05. Third comparable, 1940 Logan Avenue, built in 1985, one-floor building, less as 4,000 square feet, rent for $14.
Hey, Ms. Scheibo, I don't want to cut you off, but you've answered the question, I think. And
So all my comparables,
excuse me, you're just reading the evidence that's
Sorry.
already been given. We don't have to hear it again. It's already been established. You went through the brief already. Please, if you are answering a question, try to answer it explicitly and with less verbiage if you can, please.
so all 6 comparables, one floor building built between 1977 and 1990. It's one floor buildings, and they rent around $16 per square foot. We assess less as $14 per square foot. It's
Okay,
fair.
thank you. You answered the question. Any other questions, Mr. Applicant?
Yes, Your Honor, these buildings they are talking, they are originally commercial buildings.
No, you're asking questions right
my-
now. Okay, if you have questions to ask the assessor, you can
Yeah,
ask them.
those buildings you are
Excuse
talking.
me, if you have evidence to give, you'll be
They
given
are
up doing
from the
so.
beginning, they are commercial big buildings. Mine was a small little house, we changed into office.
You're asking questions
But you
right
cannot
now.
compare with the
Excuse me,
buildings. 20
Mr.
years.
Applicant, please stop. I'll give you the opportunity to give your right now. You can ask questions. If you have no questions, then you can say, I have no questions, and we'll continue on. And then we'll let you give your evidence, okay?
Okay.
If you have a question, I'll let you ask it now, but please make it a question.
My question is, like, this was a little residential house, small little house, right?
That's not a question. You're giving evidence. Please ask a question if you have one.
I don't think these buildings, they are talking as a
You're
comparable.
not, that's not a question. If you have a question, you can ask it. If you want to give evidence, I'll let you do that, as I told you many times before. I'm not trying to cut you off, but right now it's time to ask questions, not give evidence. I'll give you an opportunity doing so. Please just ask you have any questions?
That's my evidence, that's all I have, the evidence. I cannot
Okay,
believe
thank
from
you.
112 to go to 250,000 little, I built a single small garage, one car garage.
Okay, you'll give your evidence in a minute. Right now, you finished asking questions, that's fine.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Moreski, do you have any questions? please?
I think this building is worth not more than $140,000.
You know what, you'll give
Yes,
your evidence in, excuse me, you're finished asking questions. You said you had no more questions.
No,
You'll be
no
given
more.
up, excuse me, you'll be given an opportunity of giving your evidence in a few minutes. Right now, the panel members might have questions of the assessment department. Will you please let us ask them? Thank you.
Okay, so
Mr. Moreski, do you have any questions?
yes, so there is two structures on the property, is that correct?
Yes,
Correct.
And so one is a garage.
And another office building.
Okay, so there's an office building and a garage, correct?
Correct.
So this 1144 leasable area that you have is just the office?
Blended area.
How is it blended?
It's a VSS office and garage, like a garage together.
So that
Because-
area though includes the garage then and the office together?
Yes, correct. If you look on page 17, a new garage was built and it's only 445 square feet.
So this office is only 1,000 square feet then, or
Yes, less than 1,000 square feet.
less than 1,000 square feet? Why does it look bigger on the picture? Me,
only 700 square.
just give me a moment there, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
That structure with that, it has like a lean-to in the back with those I'm looking on page 4 here.
Yes,
So that is only 700 square feet, that building?
700 square feet.
no, it's more than
No,
700.
730 something. And 420 is garage, that's it.
Okay, what is the answer to the question, please?
So we have a garage 445 square feet. So if 1144 minus 445. Yeah, 700 square feet office.
700.
Okay, so your comparables though, are they apples to apples? Because those, you don't know if those ones have the same configuration, sort of the ratio of the garage to the office. Do you know that?
Yes, because my comparables, they have office and garage same time, because they have some office space and service garage. It's lowest we found. So lowest 2,300 square feet.
The 340 Pembina has 5,400 square feet, correct?
Correct.
So it has a garage as well?
Yes. All comparables, it's service garages.
Okay, so on the subject property, is that 400 square foot garage, is that a service garage?
Yes, service garage. Correct.
So you blended together the office with a service garage then?
Yes.
And that is the same for your rent comparables?
Yes.
They all have offices.
They have some office space. Each garage has same office space. When you re-entry, you have some manager or some entry position. So it has every service garage has some office space and real service garage.
So in the subject property case, though, the majority of the property of the building on the property is office. Now,
Correct.
I would just off the top of my head say it's like 65–70% office. Now, those comparables, is that the same ratio? office to,
I didn't look into ratio.
well, it's very difficult to make that comparison then if you don't know the ratio, wouldn't that be correct?
That's why on page 12 was presented cost approach as well. And showed that land value over $200,000, just land value of this piece of land.
Okay, I have no further questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maretsky. Mr. Stephenson, do you have any questions?
Bill addressed the questions I had. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I guess I have a couple of questions. The first one is I see that the property sold in 2020 and it indicated a consideration of 106,000, but a sworn value of 205,000. And just wondering if you know why the consideration would be so much less than the sworn value.
We can ask agent, ask owner about it. In
I
my
can't.
case,
I know I can ask. I'm asking you right now. If you don't know,
we don't consider it is arm's length, not arm's length sale.
I understand. I'm just, you put it in your brief, so I had to ask the question because it's unusual to see a consideration of or a sworn value more than consideration.
Yes, if you're going for consideration, we usually showed how it applied to our income approach.
Are you valuing this on income approach or on land approach? I know you put both in here.
I put two approaches, cost approach and income approach to support value of property. So by cost approach, it's 248,000. By income approach, 245,000. So it's very close. It's
I understand, but are you using? You're going by the income approach, though, right?
For this appeal, yes, we are approach by income approach,
Okay, and
but cost approach more higher.
that's fine. That takes me to my next question. I know the area. It seems like a very small building. It doesn't seem to be prime. I'm wondering why you would stipulate a 6.15 cap rate.
Because it's small building, more buyer can buy this property less as $250,000. That bring cap rate more lower. More market of purchaser.
Well, Ms. Chabot, you think a purchaser buying this property would look at it and say, this is not really very prime. And if I'm going to buy it, I expect a higher cap rate than 6.15.
And we also need to bring into consideration on page number 7, owner own adjacent property. And it is commercial C2 zoning.
That's true.
So it's not just 4,000, it's 12,000, around 10,000 square feet.
No, I agree he's got adjacent property, but if this was sold, this is a lot of record. It's one lot. It could be sold individually. And if it was sold individually, it'd be sold as that one piece. And a purchaser would look at it and would say, this is pretty, there's two small buildings on here, they're old. And I think that a cap rate of 6.15 seems aggressive by the assessment department. You don't think so?
I don't think so, because just by cost approach, land cost over $200,000.
I understand, but you're not going by land, you're going by the income approach right now.
And this, our statistical data showed smaller property, less than 1 million, has more purchases who can afford to buy this property. That bring cap rate much lower.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you. We'll let the applicant provide his evidence now. Mr. Applicant, you're asking questions before. Now you can provide your evidence and we'll let you go ahead and you can indicate.
Yes, Your Honor, first thing she made a mistake in office is 700 square feet, right? And she said 1,100 square feet. Secondly, I'm renting for $1,000 a month. I'm paying $500 monthly or city property tax, 400 insurance, I make only $100, and now she want to increase the value from $112 to $245,000, it doesn't justify. That's my simple question. See, 2022, $112,500 value. And I built small single garage, only do sometimes car wash or sometimes with changing brakes. And she comparing with big commercial like shops, like repair shops. So that's the two things they are around here. That's all. In 2 years, I don't think it's more than double price.
Anything else you want to say?
That's all, In my view, is the building, maximum $150,000 or 145. 100,000 should be less.
Okay, so you want $150,000, you're saying?
I think the value of that property is 150 or 145, not 245.
And, okay, that's, okay, Ms. Shaibo, any questions?
When did you build new garage?
The building like 3 years.
Yes,
We got occupancy permit 2022.
2000. And
You know
you,
how big is the garage?
444.
Yeah, 18 by 24. One car only fits there.
It's-
You compare big shops like a repair shop like Jim Goche, Logan Room 90, that's like a 6-bay garage, a 2-story office on the top. I have no basement even in the shop or like in my office.
Yes, when we step, how much you think you?
I'm getting
land
$1,000 rent a month, and I'm paying city $600 card
Okay,
to
stop.
you here.
Did you provide information that it's rented for us?
Yes, I provided
It's
information.
owner occupied property for us.
No, I send the paper, there's the owner and a tenant. Occupied.
In your opinion, how much piece of land cost if we demolish building?
If I demolish that building,
Mhm.
why have to demolish?
So, what much more value, piece of land or building on the property?
It was almost the same, somebody had to buy, they had to buy the vacant lot next door, C2, otherwise nobody can use this lot, just one lot,
Yes, it is
You
true
got
that
it.
adjacent property belong, owner as well.
Are we discussing both properties here or just 195? I appealed for both.
So according our record, all both adjacent property, same size of land,
Yeah, same exact.
or same owner,
Yes,
correct?
Yes,
So now, it's 3 piece of land, it's increased value of land, correct? Now it's commercial.
1391 is a residential, you cannot compare with this commercial.
Residential, we can change zoning, correct?
No, I applied, but they refused. Like 10 years ago. And I have one, west side is commercial, and that is another story here too. Because, but that is separate hearing, so I cannot discuss.
It is.
I don't know how you come compare that building, you showed me, you come see this is a difference of like 75% difference in the price
Yes.
value and value.
Because
But
according.
you just sit in office, you guys and make appraisal, this and that for no reason.
I know that value increase, we update.
No, I agree with you, I from 112, I spend on a shop like $30,000. From 112, 22 here says $112,000, right? 112,500, right? In 2022, right? Then I built the shop same year, I spent 30,000 more, right? So it should be 112 plus 30,000 or make, even say like 30 to 40 maximum. It should be 150 maximum this property, 140 to 150,000.
According, we update
And
record.
there's a residential lot, we own that one too. That value is over 80,000 or 90,000. Got it?
Okay, yeah, answer the question. Ms. Scheibel, do you have any other
No
questions?
questions.
Ms. Scheibel, if you have any other questions, I think this one's been answered.
No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Stephenson, do you have any questions?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky, any questions?
Yes, so if you were to have sold, in your opinion, if you were to have sold this property in April 1st of 2023, how much do you think you would have got for it?
Well, I can say to the city, whatever she's saying, 245,
No,
right?
no, I just want to know what you think you would have got for it.
Oh, no, what's the value now? 150.
No, in April 1st, 2023. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's 112,500.
You only would have got 112,000 for it?
Yes, yeah, and now in the shop, there's a small garage, one car garage, right? I spent $30,000, so you can add that one on.
But you own that land, you own the land adjacent to the property, right?
Yes,
So if you sold any of those, they're about the same size as the land that these buildings
yeah,
occupy, is that correct?
exactly same 44 by 91, three all lots.
So if you probably know the value of that land since you own it, so how much is that adjacent property land worth?
The commercial or residential? East side or west side?
Doesn't matter, either one.
Yeah, cause residential, they appraise city 90,000, I think, and the commercial next door, there's no building, nothing at all, and also they increased 100,000, I feel I am, April that hearing on the
Yeah,
next
but
month.
you're always telling me what they valued it at. I just want to know what you think it's worth.
Or the next door, the vacant lot, commercial, it should be residential 90, that would be 100,000 or 110. Because nothing is on there, just a parking lot only next door.
Okay, so that's what you think it's worth.
There
Okay.
was-
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I got to guess a couple questions. The first one is the same question I asked the assessor. Why in 2020 you bought the property? How much did you pay for it?
2020, which property?
This property.
No, this property we have from 20 years is about before my name, now it is my wife's name.
Okay, so you transferred to your wife in 2020.
Yes. So
Okay.
we own the property since 1990.
Okay, so you indicated then on your transfer of land that was registered to the land titles office, a sworn value of $205,000.
205, but
Yeah,
that time.
That's what you issued. In 2020, you swore that it had a value of $205,000.
Your Honor, is it what they did in the last 2 years ago? They put both property tax on one, what do you call it?
Just answer the question. In 2020, you filed a transfer of land at land titles office, I guess with your lawyer, and you indicated at that time that the property you swore on the transfer
Yes.
that it had a valuation of $205,000. I'm asking you.
No, but the thing is, that time they was sending me one tax bill. Now they're sending me two tax bills. That time, so they are both property lot 35 and 36. They're talking.
Well, because you put it in your wife's name, so you have two different names on it. So they're going to send you.
Yeah, that's I agree with both property. Both land, like both property are actually more than 200,000. Actually, 250 now. Because a vacant lot is 100,000 and 150,000. This is office and shop, right? So should be 250 both actually. Because I'm 1395, I have a little garage, I have 700 square foot, he said 1100, and second lot is exactly same size lot, 44 by 91, nothing on there, no, I haven't spent even $1 since the last 20 years. And they increase the value $100,000 too. I appealed for that one too, the next month hearing.
Okay, thank you. I have no further question to ask you. So we'll make our.
I have only one question, how they can say this is.
No, you can't ask me any questions. Okay, you've given your evidence. You've been asked the questions now.
Okay.
Here is concluded. You'll get our decision in the mail in a short order. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we can proceed with the next matter, which is item number 3, 1595 Aaron Street.
And Mr. Chair, I believe we have a preliminary matter to discuss regarding this property.
Okay. You can let us know you can proceed then, please.
So it'll be a non-co-op order. But we don't have any applicants, currently for the property.
Okay, seeking non-cooperation. Okay, if you please go over the evidence behind your order you're seeking for non-cooperation.
And Mr. Chair, we just have to break into a recess for you guys to vote. Oh, we don't have an applicant, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, we do not have an applicant. Wait, sorry, Mr. Chair, we don't have an applicant currently at the moment.
Okay, we don't have an applicant here, so then we'll stand this one down. Sorry, I thought that it was present, sorry. Okay, we'll stand down then 1595 Erin Street down to the bottom of the docket. Have we got an attendance on 51 Lily Street?
Yes, you can take this.
Okay, we can proceed with 51 Lily Street at this point then.
Mr. Chair, I'll just affirm the applicant.
Here.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll affirm you first.
Okay.
Yeah, Ms. Applicant, please state your full name. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated.
If you don't mind, could you turn that up a little?
Of course.
Okay, so we have 51 Erin Street and we've sworn in the applicant, I'm sorry, Lily Street, 51 Lily Street. We've sworn in the applicant, so we can proceed then. Assessment Department, you can provide your evidence at this time?
File number 24241, applicant Justina Cristiana. Roll number 13081245100. Address is 51 Lily Street. Assessment years 2005, with reference date April 1st, 2003. We assessed at value of 809,000 taxable. The subject property is a vehicle service garage, one-story building, original built in 1980, with land area over 8,000 square feet and land area, gross floor area, leasable area, 4,344 square feet. We recommended to convert 2025 assessment of 809,000. The subject property doesn't have history of sale. We received income expense mailer. So the photo of subject property on page number 2, it's one-story building. Location of subject property on page number 3, it's northeast side of the city. Not far, it's a Lily in Israel on this corner. The subject property have rectangle shape of building, block size of lot. So we have more photo page number 4. Street view. So subject property has a multi-use section intended to encourage a range of uses, sizes, activities, a building typical to diverse and vibrant central business district. The building form is also diverse, ranging from high-rise towers at Portage, Maine, to more intimately scaled building along Graham Avenue. Urban design review intention to enhance pedestrian comfort and encourage high-quality building form. On page number 6, we did subject property assess at marketed home for 4,344 square feet and $14.03. Let's look on bottom of same page for rent comparables. I have 6 rent comparables range between with average $16.32 and median $15.91. We assess it's $14.03. My first comparables on 1577 Erin Street. you can see it's a photo of such comparables on page number 12. His building built in 1984, one floor buildings with floor area less than 3,000 square feet, rented $17.05. My second comparable is 940 Logan Avenue, vehicle service garage, less than 4,000 square feet, renting $14.29. Third comparables on 1825 King Edward Street, built in 1997, one floor building, area over 5,000 square feet, rent at $15.43. And three comparables on Portrait Avenue, 3331, built in 1980, rent from 2,300 square feet at $14.03. Just similar like subject property. Another comparables number 5, 3333 Portage. Rent at 2,240 square feet at $16.38. In six comparables 3341 Portage Avenue, built in 1980, one floor building, rent less than 3,000 square feet for $20.74. So we assess it's $14.03. For this type of vehicle service garages, we apply vacancy loss 2%. We apply expenses 3%, in shortfall for vacant space, $6 per square foot. Our capitalization rate for subject property is 7.1%. Let's open table on page number 8, our cap rates. So it's close to downtown office between 5.9 to 7%. It's 60% of the property from 20 percentile to 80 percentile. 60% of properties in the city show capitalization rate between 5.9 to 7%. Collier showed 6 to 7, CBRE showed 6.5 to 8, and Cushman Wakefield showed 5.25 to 8.5. So we assess at 7.1. It's outside our range, because our range to 7%. It's fair. It's a subject property owner occupied. According to evidence presented, we ask to confirm assessed value of $809,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, yes, if the applicant has any questions of the assessment department, they can be asked now.
I don't, sorry, just a preamble, I don't pretend to understand ARB or all that stuff. So when you say rent per square foot is $14.03,
Correct.
is that the, like, if we would rent out our property, we should be able to get $14.03 per square foot? Anything that we've looked at to rent is at $1 per square foot or less. So I'm not sure, how do you get this $14.03 per square?
It's a model generated rent per square foot. And on bottom of page 6, I presented 6 comparables, showed range $15 to $16 per square foot. Same deal years. For example, your subject property built in 1980, my comparables 1984 to 1997. I was looking for close to your area 123, South Point Douglas, and my comparables on area 118. So it's by neighborhood closest what I found. And they showed between $14 to $20.74. It's on Portage biggest. But the average $16 per square foot.
It's very interesting, especially since, sorry, the last guy said he's getting $1,000 a month for his property. That's interesting as well. I think my husband had some other questions. Bruce Christian is the owner. So it's just model generated, so they're not based on the property assessment value. That's correct.
Yes, it's model generated, yes. But when model use comparables, like I showed you in bottom, I just pick my own comparables. But model generate all rents across the city for this type of building.
That's that. And then what is vacancy expenses and shortfall? Like,
Vacancy expenses, we give 2% vacancy. So we assume that one moment this building will be completely empty. So each years we give 2% reduction.
okay.
And when you apply this 2% from leasable area, this space, vacant space, we apply shortfall $6 per square foot.
$6 per square.
On vacant space, because we assume if it's vacant, it should be paid by the owner, not by tenants. That's why we give this reduction and reduce 2% vacancy, expenses 3%, because it can be different certified accountant expenses. So we give this 3% expenses to run this property to keep, and 6% $6 per square foot for vacant space. For 2% of existing lease.
Not sure I understood any of that. But that's probably not my job to understand.
Yes, it's just it's expenses. We showed expenses.
Okay. So, but those deductions, that's before the $14.03, or is it after?
After. So but we exempt to gross income. We estimate 61,000 square feet. We apply 2% reduction, so we see that now effective gross income, so the 59.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Okay, after applying 2% vacancy of gross income, we came across effective gross income around 59.
That's our gross income.
Yeah, it's effective gross income. So if this space should be rent for around 60,000 per year annual,
You think we can get that much?
because it's our income approach.
Wow. Okay, that's what that does.
And after this 3%, it's like expenses to keep this building, maintain this building. Hydro, water,
Wow.
maintenance.
That'd be super if we could get that. Absolutely super.
Hey, do you have any other questions to ask?
Just checking. Thank you. This is not the time when I challenge.
No, you'll absolutely be given an opportunity to give your answer after all the questions are asked.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said you'll be given an opportunity to present your argument after all the questions.
Ask all the questions. Okay.
So do you have any more questions?
I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, very good then. Thank you. Mr. Maretsky, do you have any questions?
Yes, this is owner occupied property.
Yes.
That was the assessor that answered that
Yes,
question?
it's owner occupied property. If you open page 10, you have it's called income space mail provided to us. It's owner occupied.
Okay, so
So
You don't have any rental information for this property in terms of income, correct?
correct. But
Now-
closest comparables, it's Erin and Logan. And they show between $14 to $17 per square foot.
Hey, just really look at that.
Because
I'll get to that. I'll get to your comparables in a moment. I just okay, owner occupied. Now, again with the office here. I look at this. I got something wrong with my mouse here, so it throws me off. If you look at this property from above on page 4, down below in the picture below, it seems like the shop is that big rectangle to the right and up, and the office is the smaller section. Was that a correct assumption?
yes, small, very small office on our left side on page number 2.
Okay, there it's shown. So the vast majority of this property is garage, correct?
Correct. We have only a few spots behind and in front.
Okay, so but a lot of things that you use to assess this property, specifically the capitalization rate, went with office. Isn't it? But if the majority of it is the garage, that would be kind of industrial then, wouldn't it?
If
Would it
you
be
look at industrial, it will be between 5.35 to 7.3. But it's for office because it's a single garage on single property.
Mhm.
And all our comparables maximum 7%, and we already apply 7.1% after the 60 percentile.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to know if that's the way you saw it too, that it's primarily an industrial property.
If but it's not industrial area, multi-use.
Now, you mentioned 1940 Logan being downtown. 1940. So the addresses are going up from downtown, so that would be further west.
Yes,
Correct.
subject
Okay.
property located 123, number of neighborhoods of Point Douglas, and I find 118 and 124 closest. How I was looking in small garages, not new, built something 1980, how I select this property. And I provide leases started in 2020, 2022, prior to reference date. It's reported to us. So in one of leases from 14 to 20 is too big to 17. So, and we apply $14 per square foot.
Okay, I'll just have to ask the question again. What would you consider downtown area? Can you just give me an idea? Let's look at
Downtown area, it will be neighborhood 161, 65, 117, 71. It's downtown area, but it's close to downtown. But it's not downtown.
So none of your comparables are downtown, correct?
No one. First 3 comparables, it's industrial area.
33 Portage Avenue, 3331, 3333, 3341, that's quite a bit west.
Yes,
almost-
it's
That's
west.
almost
Yes.
on the western edge of the city already, correct?
Correct. That's why I say my first 3 comparable best. But I was looking for small size.
Mhm.
close to this 123 neighborhood number.
So this property is actually right almost in the heart of downtown. Would you agree with that?
Yes. If you look on page number 3, it's on Lily and Israel.
Okay. Just something you said when you answered the question from the applicant there. You're saying something about hydro. When you were explaining the expenses,
Mhm.
isn't hydro a recoverable expense in most cases?
It's a occupation cost. It's a hydro electricity, it's occupation cost. It's recoverable.
Isn't the expenses that you use in this model, the 3%, isn't that non-recoverable expense?
3%, it's not recoverable expense, but,
So you mentioned hydro in error then? Is that
oh,
correct?
yes, sorry, good catch, yes, it's an error.
Okay,
It's
no,
not recoverable expense, it's 3%.
okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood it correctly, that's all.
A good catch, thank you.
Okay, I have no further questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stephenson, do you have any questions?
Back to, I guess, the calling your comparables downtown or not compared to the subject property. So just a question for the assessor again. Do you agree that the comparables you've used are in the same core location in downtown?
My comparable, it's not downtown.
No? Okay. And then would you
Closer
know,
to subject property will be 1940 Logan and 8025 King Edward. Because this neighborhood, adjacent neighborhood, subject property 123 and this 124. How I selected them, I try to find closest.
would you consider that the subject property's neighborhood is a little less desirable than the comparables used?
Correct, that's why we increase capitalization rate to 7.1.
That's why you increased the cap rate?
It's
Okay.
model generated but then higher, that our 60% of properties. On table 8.
Okay. And then my math, that's a monthly rent of $5,000 you think this building would go for, is that right?
Yes.
No further questions.
Okay, thank you. So I have a couple questions. First of all, I guess you're indicating that you increased the cap rate. Okay, okay, I'm going to go out of that. I'll ask you that later. My first question is this property on Lily Avenue, that's the Exchange District, isn't it?
No, it's not exchange.
Is it Point Douglas?
It's sorry, I don't have in front of me. It's subject property. If you look on page number 1, it's Point Douglas, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Point Douglas, subject property.
I don't think I still understand. I'm sorry.
South Point Douglas.
Oh, South Point Douglas. Okay, that's what I thought. It is Point Douglas. Okay.
On page number 1 and table property description.
Okay, so Point Douglas is not. Yeah, okay, that's good to know because you're talking about downtown. I'm just wondering why. I know it's Point Douglas is more closer to the north end. I know it's close to downtown on one end, but because I'm looking at comparables and your comparables, and Mr. Stephenson pointed out, and I thought the same thing that they're all more desirable properties, I would say, insofar as location is concerned. Aaron Street has got a high traffic volume, as is Logan. I'm not saying Logan's the best area, but it's got a high traffic volume, especially for a garage. King Edward Street, again, high volume. The Portage Avenue properties are, as Mr. Moreski pointed out, very far west. So could you not find anything in the area that would be more appropriate to use as a guide than as the rent that this property would generate?
Subject property very well visible for this rail highway. It's very high volume of car driving by.
I actually, could you not find any comparables that were closer to the subject properties area?
This type of property usually owner occupied. That's why I try my best to support.
Okay. Okay, if you couldn't find anything, you look for them and you tried your best.
All others owner occupied, like subject property.
Okay, that's fair, Ms. Scheibel. You can't find things that don't exist. And if you said you looked for them and couldn't find them because they weren't there, I'll accept that as an answer and it's a valid one. I look at a 7.1% cap rate here, and I look at the cap rate you just used on the other property we just dealt with, which I don't think is a more desirable area or a more desirable property. And I'm just wondering, I'm not saying this cap rate's unreasonable. I think it maybe is, but I think it points out more that the model on the previous property missed the point. Anyway, we're not dealing with that one right now. We should have a hard time because you didn't provide us with a really good rent comparable. And I'm going to ask you to defend it one more time. Why should we rely on the comparables that you provided as being indicative of what this property would generate if it were rented?
Because my comparables, best three of them on Erin, Logan, and King Edward, they have size between 5 and 2,000 square feet, and they rent between $14 to $17 per square foot. And subject property over 4,000 square feet, we assess it's $14 per square feet.
I understand, but it's in a different area.
It's what provided. Usually this type of property owner occupied.
I understand, but why should we look at your comparables and say this is indicative of what we could expect the rent to be on the subject property?
It's just my sex comparables, but this model generated and model crunch all rents across the city for this type of property. And it's finds that this area rent for $14 per square foot. It's a huge
You showed us any properties in the
statistical data.
Yeah, but you haven't shown us any properties in the area that have rented for anything. So, okay, well, thank you. I think you've answered the questions the best you can. So I'll let the applicant provide their evidence now.
Thank you.
Okay, you filed various things. We can open them up in order if you want us to.
Not sure what order you have.
Doesn't matter. Just need us.
Well, you take us what you want to take us to.
Oh, okay, sounds good, thank you. Well, I just wanted to show you that even though we're visible from the Israeli, many people who step into the shop the first time say, we've never seen you. We've driven this highway many times and we've never seen you. Until, I don't know what brings them in, maybe a referral. And there is no entry.
Are you showing us the pictures now or from which brief?
That's the question. I'm not sure what order you got yours in.
Okay, I think we're looking at the pictures right now.
Okay, looking at the pictures. Okay,
We are, I think you are. It says no entry from Disraeli on your first photo.
Okay.
No entry from Disraeli is the first picture? Okay.
Yeah.
Then we're on the
One
same.
way, you have to make your way onto Lily and then you have to find a way to turn around and come back because Lily is just one way. And
Okay.
hopefully you can see past the bushes that I've asked the city to cut down, and it's taken over a year. I asked them again today. And then to see onto our driveway. And If you go down Galt, you'll get to the gravel back lane, which actually none of the comparable properties have. They all have a beautiful paved lot, and we can't get our gravel back lane paved because our neighbors don't agree to it. So we have to deal with big potholes until the city comes and fixes them, which they did this spring, which is super after we contacted our MLA. And I don't think you want to look at some of the other pictures. Homelessness and drugs is very prevalent. You can just look outside our windows and just see all kinds of things. It's not good. Lots of things going on. We have to lock our doors, and we have to warn our customers with the signs on the doors that criminals do and have smashed their windows. And you can't leave your vehicle there overnight unless you leave everything open and take everything out, but then you should leave it unlocked and somebody will be sleeping in it. That has also happened. We lock our doors. We have a doorbell on the side there, so our customers can ring the door. And my husband walks particularly certain customers out to their cars just for safety. Let's see. We are not a franchise. We're not an auto body shop that does body repairs to cars. We don't get MPI payments on body and glass repairs, such as some of the assessors' examples. We don't sell cars. We are not a used car lot like the second comparable. We don't rent cars like the first comparable. Our outside parking is very limited. One second. We don't offer towing. We're not a car wash. We do mechanical repairs on passenger vehicles only, not on semis. We don't have contracts with the city or any businesses to work on their fleet vehicles. We have individual customers, vehicle owners that need brakes, air conditioning, tires, anything else mechanical to keep their vehicle comfortably running. We don't have city services. We don't have garbage pickup or maintenance. Police services we get if we are physically in harm's way. We are not fenced or gated. We have a small fenced area for our recycled tires, and that's it. We don't have nice enclosed areas like some of the comparables. We do need repairs. You can see from maybe my pictures that we need to paint. Our garage doors and the moldings along there need help. We're working on getting these repaired. We need some roof repairs. There's some pictures of damage on our ceilings. We could use our saved tax dollars to make those repairs. That'd be awesome. This area is not desirable, like one of you mentioned. There's too many homeless shelters around. The people addicted to drugs are unpredictable, except that they are predictable that they will steal and break things. And there are no repercussions for their actions. We are not near a mall. Just thinking back to the capitalization rates for downtown that the assessor mentioned. I don't know anything about capitalization rates, but the office rates are there for downtown. We're a retail store, I would say, mostly between retail and industrial, but I don't know what difference that really makes to us, except that we don't have shopping. We're not near a golf course either. They won't be buying us up. We heard about the new Little Forks proposal. I looked at the map and I don't think that's gonna affect us at all, except that if there's more parks, there's more homeless that can live there. You can go a couple blocks and walk the waterfront if you are always aware of what's around you. And also see homeless encampments. We have an empty century-old house on one side, the pink one. Except that might not be pink in your pictures. Empty and for rent for a long time now. And then there's parking lots around us, empty warehouses. 306 Edwin is a house on the corner going into our back lane. When you look on Google Maps, it looks nice and clean. But the one picture I took is just an example of how derelict it's looking. Not a good example of what the city should have. We are also having difficulty getting qualified people to work in our shop, and then sales drop because we can't do the work. Right now, we're down to 2 employees. One just started yesterday. We've had to let 3 out of 3 hires go this summer alone. They're just not qualified. The Canadian office market advertises that Winnipeg's average office net rent per square foot is $19.34. I think I have an example of that in Manitoba's advertised rent rate. In the paragraph above it says office space from modern Class A towers to beautiful historic buildings. Well, we are neither. Our building area is taxed at exactly that rate. It's an old building dating over 45 years. We're a dirty mechanical car repair shop. We ask the city not to rate us as nice downtown office space. In fact, the rental spaces, like I mentioned before, we've looked at are at or less than $1 per square foot lease rate. I don't know if I can submit this. You can tell me yes or no. In 2022, we were doing not so badly. We had reasonable staff in place and we were looking for extra space, especially for tire changes and tire storage. And we were looking to hire more people. 225 Princess was for rent. It's not too far from us. Also not a good area, but available. They were asking $3,900 a month base rent, totaling $46,800 a year with a 2-year lease. Their building alone is about the same size as ours with more upstairs storage. So about the same size as ours, 4,344 square feet at $3,900 a month is less than $1 a square foot. Considering their total space, much more parking, 11,416 square feet total property compared to our total space, which is 8,151 total property, gave them over 3,000 more square footage than 51 Lily. The same number of bay doors, 4, much more exposure and paved streets on all sides. And they are assessed at 612,000. But I know that's not what you go by. If you do that, divided by their total square footage, I don't know, it's $53.61 a square foot. If we did that times our total square footage, $53.61 times 8,151 square feet, that means it's $436,975 property assessed value. That's a huge difference from what the city wants to do to us. I don't think we should be taxed. We don't think we should be taxed, like we are in a better area. As has been said, assessors rent comparables don't compare to being downtown. If I add up all those assessed values divided by their land areas, divided by the four comparables, because the last 3 are actually on the same piece of land, we have a total of 323,757 assessed value. That is less than we are asking. And those are all better assessed, better areas, more good things, better buildings. We should not be taxed like we have city services that we don't. No garbage, no easy ingress, egress. visibility is poor from branches and artwork on 51 Lily. We should not be taxed like something we are not, nor near to something we aren't. We have garbage, excrement, needles from the vagrant homeless around us all the time. And my husband says if we could be assessed at 550,000, we think that's fair.
Okay, thank you very much. That's your evidence.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Chabot, any questions?
Yes, I'm looking on income expense mailer provided to us.
Mhm.
So your total expense is 16,000, correct?
Sorry, let me just get to
Yeah,
your evidence again, because that's
not,
on your
not mine,
evidence.
yours evidence.
Right, but I don't have that on me right now.
Okay,
Yeah, just, but I think you submitted it, didn't you?
yes.
Just have to get to my. I have it here and then I lost it. You know, what page is that?
On my brief, page 10, so what is total expenses to run your property annual?
Including insurance,
Mhm.
professional fees, office supplies, hydro, water, heat, waste and snow removal, security at that time, this is all month ending 9/30/2023. Yep. Security, monitoring, maintenance and repair, maintenance supplies, property taxes, and 62, I can't read it on this property, what does it say?
It's, yeah,
62%.
62.
Yeah, okay.
So all expenses to just run, maintain your improvements, it's 60,000.
Not to maintain improvements.
Just
Yes.
to run
Just
everything,
to,
all expenses for property,
and not wages,
not
Yeah.
wages, yeah, wages outside.
yeah, just property.
So, would you agree that, to keep, debit and credit, similar? You have to annual received for rent 16,000, at least same amount.
There's not a chance I can get that. In fact, with this property at Princess Street, our insurance was extra, our hydro and everything was extra. Our taxes, we had to pay extra. Everything was extra. That was just for the building and for use of the parking outside of it.
So, so your expense is 16,000, EVR says around 16,000 per square foot. Or $16,000 annual income. So to keep your business running, you have, if you decide
yes.
to rent, it should be 16,000, correct?
To keep our business running,
Yes,
it should be how much?
16,000 lease.
16,000 lease?
Yes,
Per
because,
month?
no, per year, non-annual. Because your expenses, 16,000, all expenses,
62.
from insurance to utilities. In our assessment, so your expense is 16,000, it's correct, it's fair, correct? Just for well-run property. Normal property, so I get confusing.
I'm not sure if I understand.
So what she meant to say was like, in order to run your property, you spend around $60,000 in a year, right?
Us.
Yeah,
Us
you got it.
ourselves,
Yeah.
yes.
And then in order to recover that $60,000, you might have to rent this property, or you might have to earn the same amount of $60,000. Because if you don't earn that $60,000, your property you might be in losses, right?
We would be in huge losses, but there's no chance we could get $60,000.
But the city of Winnipeg, like the assessment department.
That's how they determine it?
Yes,
Oh.
So when our model was running, as per us, this property could be rented out for $14.03, which will give you an yearly rent of $60,000.
You know what? That question's not fair. Don't answer it. We
Yeah.
don't know what it would rent out for. You can't say that it's gonna rent out for
No
40.
other questions.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you. Mr. Stephens, do you have any questions?
Did you ask me?
Mr. Stephenson, do you have any questions of the applicant?
I just want to confirm, the value you think the property was as of April 1st, 2023. What is
Sorry.
that? You mentioned it. I just want to confirm the number that you,
Oh, what my husband and I would like to
yes,
be assessed at, 550,000.
550,000.
550,000.
And can you explain how you come to that number?
225 Princess, the rental, they are. I can find out what their assessed value is, through the Winnipeg City taxation website, so that's assessed at 612,000. They have paved all around them. They, same kind of.
Okay, you know, yeah, we don't really go by other assessments, but
I didn't want to
That's
stop.
how
you, but yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I came to how we came to 550,000, is because,
And you feel that's fair?
yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any more questions.
thank you. Mr. Boretsky, do you have any questions?
Yeah, yes, I just want to go back to 25 Princess. You seem to know a lot about that property. So what was the square footage again? Rentable area?
I could not exactly find the rentable area on the Winnipeg,
But you had made that calculation though, how much
yes.
would
I
have a
made the
dollar?
calculation.
So the
It was
area,
based on our area, when you looked at the City of Winnipeg Assessment and Taxation Department, business assessment, roll number, our area is,
what do you mean our area?
51 Lily.
Okay.
Is 4,344 square feet. And I'd just like to point out as well that the office space is 630 square feet. That little area under cost to occupy, the air conditioning, is 630 square feet. That's the office space.
Okay, do you know the area?
I'm sorry, I forgot your question.
Do you know the area of 255 Princess? What is the?
Not the building, but it was comparable to ours. I could not just get that information off the.
Assuming it's the same area as yours,
Yeah.
property?
Mhm.
Okay, so around 4,000 square feet then?
It's around 4,000, although it had a bigger upstairs and a bit of a basement, but that doesn't count either, I know.
And you said the rent was how much?
Sorry, I didn't hear your last comment, Mr. Boretsky.
How much was the rent? You had a figure before.
Oh, okay, you want me to just, not sure if I understood, but. They're assessed at 612,000 and their total area, including land, is 11,416 square feet. So that is $53.61 square feet. If we
Okay, so you're using the assessment for the value.
Yeah, because I have nothing else to go by. You can't hear him, he's not speaking to you.
Mr. Moretsky, you're not speaking into your microphone currently.
Sorry, okay. I had thought that you had mentioned that you knew the rent of that property that they were getting.
Yeah, we do.
So what is it?
3,900 a month.
So about the same area, 3,009. Well, that's how you came up with that dollar per square foot
Right.
per month, right? You mentioned the dollar per square foot. So that's how you came up with it, about 4,000 to 4,000? am I not coming across clear anymore here again?
No, you're coming across clear. That actually makes it less than $1 a square foot.
Well, you don't know the actual area, so it's kind of an estimation, right?
It is
So,
an estimation, yeah.
and how did you get the rental information as well?
We looked into it. I wanted to submit it, but it was too late. I can submit that if you'd like. I have just a copy of an email.
That's fine. You're giving us your verbal evidence right now, and
Mr. Chair, is that a fair question to ask then, where she got the information?
you can ask whatever question you want to, Mr. Moritzky.
Yeah, can you tell me how you got that information?
We were in discussion with the property owners. As we were looking at renting some more space close to us. So I have emails from September 2022.
So it's approximately $1 per square foot per month. So that if you extrapolate that to the year, then that's $12 a square foot. Is that correct?
You do 3,900.
If $1 a square foot per month, then it'd be $12 a square foot for the year then, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, make sense?
Mhm.
So that's not far off from what the city is proposing here, is it? Or is a couple of dollars difference? Would you agree with that characterization?
You just look back at what the city is proposing,
Well, I thought it was around 14. Is that right?
1403 per square foot. Yeah, I think that's correct.
Based on that information on the rent, on what you know about that property, it's slightly less than what the city's model is proposing then. Do you agree with that?
Definitely less.
Well, it's $2 a square foot less.
Yes.
Okay, no further questions.
Thank you. So you indicated that the property needs repairs and you haven't been able to do them. You indicated a roof and things like that. Have you determined any expenses that, have you got any quotes or any idea of what has to be done and how much it's gonna cost?
Not yet.
No, okay.
He's been too busy trying to hire and get the work done that he needs to get done.
Okay, so you indicate your roof is leaking? Did you?
I think
Or,
that.
or it isn't leaking yet?
I don't know, it doesn't seem when we're there, but we just have repairs that need to be done before we would definitely be able to rent that out. They would look at that and say, you gotta repair that.
Okay, next question then, because you really can't answer, is the property on Princess that you were looking at. There's 3 floors there. You think there's a basement and an upper floor? So would you rent that whole building?
Yep,
So that would mean that part of the square footage is in the basement and part of it is in the upper floor?
yes,
So it's not really comparable to your property then because you're on one level, correct?
right.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I don't think I can ask you anything else, so we'll have to determine what we come up with and you'll get our response by virtue of an order that will be mailed to you. Thank you for your attendance. Okay. So I'm just thinking that it's 2:37 right now. I'm wondering if we can, at this point, take a 5-minute adjournment and to come back at, let's say, 2:42.
First, Mr. Chair, I'll turn off the AV right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I heard that the applicant on the next property at 930 Nairn Avenue is here, so we can proceed with that one next.
Of course. I'm in Silicon.
And
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yep.
Oh. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Pierre Prest, P-R-E-S-T.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated.
thank you. And assessment department, you can proceed when you're ready.
File number 24-815. Roll number 14100026900. Address of property D 930 Nairn Avenue. We assess property in 2025 with reference date April 1st, 2023 at 1,067,000. The subject property is vehicle service garage, 1-story building, actual built 2008. It's a zoning subjects lot, zoning M2 manufacturing general and C3 corridor. Land area over 26,000 square feet, plant area 6, and gross floor area, leasable area, gross floor area 6,900, leasable area 6,000. Subject property located neighborhood 432 Time T's. On page number 2, we have sale for 155,000. I assume it's land sale. Subject property lease. We have reported subject lease, land lease at $1.27 per square foot. How I did estimate, so, sorry, let's start from the beginning. We have lease size 2008, size 2018 to 2023 of 28,200 square feet at land value, land area for $3,000. So it's give estimation of reported land lease $1.27 per square foot. We have improvements on this property of 6,000 square feet. So estimated lease $6 per square foot. On same page number 2, we see subject property street view. On page number 3, subject property located northeast sides of the city. More photo, airport on page number 3, 1-floor building. On page number 4, more air photo. And on page number 5, a street view. So subject property, manufacturing general. This district intend to provide for light manufacturing, processing, service, garage, wholesale and distribution operation with some limited outdoor operation and storage. On page number 4, you can see that subject property parallel 10th Street. It's behind building facing Nairn Avenue. Why it's if building front facing Nairn Avenue, it's commercial, and subject property it's already behind. It's manufacturing zone. On page number 6, we presented income expenses, market income approach. We assess 6,000 square feet and $10.70 to support model generated rent. Let's look on comparables on bottom of page number 6. 5 comparables. They showed mean or average $16.62, and median $16.09. My first comparables on 75 Stradacona. It's 401 neighborhood, so I was choosing, looking for comparables close to the subject property. Neighborhood number 432, I find in 401, 414, 432, and 434 neighborhood closest. So Stradacona was built in 1976, lease in 2020, 4,000 square feet and $9 per square foot. Subject property built in 2008, so we have to upward adjustment for the age of the building. My comparables number 2, 1315 Anderson Highway, built in 1991, lease in 2022 for 21,116 square feet at $18.32 per square foot. Comparable number 3, 720 Nairn Avenue, built in 1969, lease in 2020, 4,400 square feet at $16.09. Close 750 Nairn Avenue, built in 1971, lease in 2019 for 4,000 square feet at $11.79. Issued upward adjustment for 2 years because it's reference 23. We need to adjust for 4 years upwards. Size 2019. My fifth comparable 721 Wall Street, built in 1972, lease in 2020, 1,400 square feet and $28.29. So median or average around $16 per square foot. We assess in $10.70. Let's look on photo of my comparables. Rent comparables, we're going on page number 16. So first comparables on 75 Stradacona, one floor building. So we have air photo and street view. Comparables 1315 Henderson Highway, one floor building as well facing Henderson. Nairn Avenue, rectangle shape of property, one floor building on page 17. On page 18, 750 Nairn Avenue, one floor building, rectangle shape of property facing Nairn. My comparables on 721 Ward Street. It's a one floor building as well, like subject property. And all this property showed $16 per square foot at least. And we assessed $10.70. It's fair for much new building, 2008 build. We apply same vacancy laws like for all vehicle service garage across the city, 2%. We apply expenses, not recoverable expenses, 3%. A shortfall for vacant space, it's $6 per square foot. And this property capitalization rate 5.65%. It's, if you look on our page 8, it's suburban office space or it's in our case it's service garage. We have between 5.25 to 6.75%, and our capitalization rate 5.65%. It's inside 60% of properties. So it gives us estimation of $1,067,000. On page number 10, I was looking in cost approach for subject property. Replacement cost of the new building around $800,000. Depreciation cost already around $300,000. So depreciate the cost of building $550,000. and land value around, for our estimation, 720,000. On page number 12, I presented six land comparables of similar neighborhood, everything around 400. So 865 Henderson, 1555 Lagimadier, 755 Henderson, 800 Ravelons, 789 McLeod, and 420 Riesling. So this property land area between 17,000 square feet to 99,000 square feet. Land area subject property around 26,000 square feet. I presented commercial, multi-use. Just I was looking specific for land in this area. Sale was between 2018 2022 with sale price per square foot between $23 to $39. So our average or mean $13 per square foot and median $29 per square foot. If you look on page number 13, land valuation, it's we assess 26,378 square feet and $27.30. On page number 20, let's look at land comparables. 865 Henderson Highway was vacant land. Right now it's building control. 1555 Lagimadier, irregular shades of vacant land. Now we have construction on top. Today it's post-reference, but it's built. 755 Henderson, during sale it was vacant land. Now we have construction. 800 Ravelston was vacant land. Now we have construction on top. On page 24, 789 McLeod, regular shape of building. We have construction on top right today. And 25, 420 Riesling. It was sale. Okay, it was vacant land, now we have constructed. So just land value shows that this type of property costs $13 per square foot. So by income approach, by cost approach, we assess 1.2, 1.3 million. On page number 14, income expense Miller presented for us. This property rent, gross rent in 36,000 annual. So, according evidence presented, we asked to confirm 2025 assessed value of 1,067,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Press, is it? I
It
think-
is.
Yeah, you can ask any questions you might have of the assessor now.
No, work well done. I don't agree with the comparisons. No questions.
Well, okay, that's fine then. Mr. Moreski, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Okay, and Mr. Stephenson, do you have any questions?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
And I don't either. So, Mr. Press, you can go ahead and present any arguments you may have.
Sure. Again, thank you for this opportunity. Unfortunately, Hippocrates or Paul Canvas could not make it. And I managed the location for a couple of years until a recent car accident. I will get through this as quickly as possible. LED photosensitivity is just drilling the back of my eye. So to go forward, I'm going to present what my argument might be, whether it is an argument or not. I did not get an opportunity to take a look at the assessment report. So I'll just start from the beginning. We are technically on Kent. The address is very confusing for anyone to come and find us. And quite a bit like the last property owner. There's a lot to this business, to have this business, to maintain this business, including over $16,000 in advertising with Indeed to try to attract licensed mechanics. It seems like they've all gone to Alberta. But let's go back to the property. It's on Kent. If there's any road repairs that were done, they were not done on Kent. They were done on Narren. There's no wholesale factor or retail factor to our location. That would be Uncle Wiener's, I think it's called, on Narren Avenue. The property is subdivided, and it's also divided by hydro poles, to which you can't put a perimeter around the property. Due to the hydro poles, there were a lot of complications due to that. Even signage was a difficulty. You'll see on the second page of the photo, you might make out this ridiculous signage on the side of the building, which is all that he could do. Even after getting I-beams to propose a signage on Kent, he couldn't. He wasn't allowed to put. Oh,
Sorry, I need to interrupt, Mr. Chair. I do not have any documentation from the applicant.
I think he's looking at the applicant's brief, Mr. Maresco.
The city's brief? Okay.
Yes, I mean the city's brief. I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, the assessment owner's brief.
Continue. May I continue? Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
you may. Go ahead.
Thank you. Signage, location is difficult, and again, it's not on there. Newly built with as much modernization for this immigrant who came to Canada, 30 years of A+ business ethics, etc. Get the job done, and so you put in floor heating, etc., and plenty of insulation to be economic. And he spent the extra money, which I think it did very well, to improve the neighborhood and to attract other businesses, perhaps, at least property value. And again, forgive me, I'm no expert at this. I'm just giving you my verbal, if I may. An 8-foot fence seems to be only good to keep honest people out. The amount of breakage and smash and grab into the cars make it very difficult to an extra expense of trying to jam all the cars in during the weekend, and the loss of business because of the breakage that happens. Unlike the previous claimant, ours seem to be a professional aspect of breakage, whereas the last was perhaps suffering with homeless and a very difficult situation. They come in, they hit inside there, they get in there like they're into the vehicle like parkour. They're in and out, and short of having a police officer on duty full time, can you do anything about it? But we don't see patrols on the cameras, and we don't see any help. When we're looking at to some of the comparables, well, we are not on Erin, we are not on Henderson, and definitely not La Jamorier. We are on Kent, and even deliveries have a difficult time finding us. It is not all asphalt like many of these comparables, and that does make a difference in the business. Difficult cleaning snow, parking the vehicles on a flat surface where perhaps you can do a tire change outside. It's just not ideal. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. We have an issue with parking, as you see in the photos on page 2. Well, just about all the photos. You see the vehicles have jam-packed all the parking next to town transmission. Those would be all the city employees who are asked to pay a high parking rental fee every month. So instead, they park up and down Thomas and or Kent, And there's no parking for our customers often. They have to try to get in between the fences, or if we have any room in our gravel parking lot. Let's see here. Paul did attempt to sell without equipment, without business, without employees. And the deal fell apart at $1 million. I do not have paperwork, and we could always follow up if Paul has it. Again, I asked him what his income was last year. He just does the job. He doesn't do he gives all of his bookwork to his bookkeeper, etc. If he has a law issue, he doesn't get involved with it. He does transmissions, and he does it very well if you ever need any help. In fact, you do need our help. We do also a lot of city vehicles at Town Transmission. And thank you very much for the business. Let's see here. Yeah, so unlike Naren, Lajmodi, etc., where they all have their giant signage, they have their giant brand name, etc., we've had to result into big red letters on the side of the building. And almost a difficult thing to explain your Naren address on your Kent location. And we're doing the best that we can. This assessment has been difficult on Paul. He's close to retirement. I think this might push him into it, and that means that the business will be sold off to somebody else, perhaps. What he's asking for is that he would like to return back to 850. I don't have reasons or cannot argue like the last claimants as to why, except that he was unable to sell it for $1 million, and that's all in. So without business, without hoists, without air tanks, etc., it's just a nice building on a gravel lot that cannot be divided from the other businesses. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Shabbat, do you have any questions?
No, sorry, no questions. Thank
That's
you.
fine, thank you. Mr. Mareski, do you have any questions?
Yes, when you said the owner tried to sell for $1 million, it fell apart. When was that?
It was, I guess now it would be 2 years, possibly 3. He was approached. I think possibly from TY Auto, who's a comparable on Naren in the photos.
2 or 3 years ago, from today, right? 2 or 3 years ago from today, correct?
I can't confirm the today, but it's definitely 2 years. It might be 3. Sorry.
Well, from today back 2 or 3 years. That's when
Sure.
you.
I'm gonna stick my neck out and say 21 strong 2022.
Why, do you know why it fell apart?
Well, Paul wanted the million or the million plus, and arguments came back as to why it was not, and it passed an environmental, as it probably should, because it's, as you know, it's a new build and it was done on vacant land, and yeah, that's about all I know. Anything else would be just guessing.
So you spoke a little bit about some of the equipment inside there. Maybe if you can just go over some of that again. You said it had hoists in there?
Yes, it's a big empty building. It holds 5 hoists, several counters, and about 200 transmissions on shelves. There's a little second floor place where the boys will have a lunch or change into their uniform, and short of that, maybe some smalls, some parts that are small on the second floor. reception office, bathroom is, accessible and is approximately, I'm gonna say, 15 feet by, 20 feet. If it was to be called a retail or, an area where our customers could come and sit down. But yeah, countertops, hoists, air tanks. And the rest of that is just, try to get as many vehicles in as possible.
So in your opinion, it could be used for other car-related franchises or
There's a
business?
lot of ceiling, so possibly even semi. Again, what's the terrible thing that's going on right now is the very little education that's happening out there, where the education system has seemingly they're taking care of themselves instead of actually breeding talent for this industry. And the highest bidder gets them, but it's just small pickings. And to even try to get someone to change a tire is of value. So yeah, whoever goes in there will suffer the same result. I know a few body shops that they wouldn't be interested in this. It's just too much ceiling for them. They wouldn't be able to control. Sorry, I won't even bother. Go ahead.
Fair enough. I guess, no, I have no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Marinsky. Mr. Stevenson, do you have any questions?
I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I guess the only question I have is you didn't file anything, so I'm using the city's material as you did, the assessment
Of
department.
course. Yep.
I'm looking at photograph page number 4, and it shows, I guess, in purple, the outline of the property or the
Yes,
building. Is that whole lot though? That's all owned by this?
Mr. Canvas, I believe it is, sir.
Okay, so I've seen there and the very top, Nairn Avenue. Is this building visible from there?
Only from, if you take a look at page 2, you will see, sorry, it's a ridiculous name, but it's Uncle Wiener on the right.
Okay,
And we are behind that 100 yards, perhaps 150.
okay, so it is visible, but it's down Kent. It's not on, it doesn't have frontage on there and then.
No frontage whatsoever on Nairn Avenue. You can't even throw a stone that far.
Okay, the reason I asked you that question was I'm just wondering why it has an Nairn address when it seems to be,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay, that's all I want to clarify.
Terrible for marketing.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your presentation and being here, and we'll have to determine our determination, and we'll mail it as soon as we can. Thanks for your attendance, though.
And I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody. But I love the way you say zeros.
so the last item on the agenda is item number 8, other than what we stood down, of course, which we'll go back to. And that is the property at 1270 hang on, I shouldn't flick things before I read them. Archibald, 1270 Archibald Street. We can proceed with that, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just to note, we have no appearance for this one.
There's no appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what then? We'll stand it down and go back to agenda item number 2 then.
Sorry, agenda item number 3?
Or 3 then, I'm sorry. The first item on the agenda for sure. Yes, item number 3, I'm sorry.
Okay, in that case, Mr. Chair, would you like to go in camera in order to discuss the preliminary issue?
We would.
Okay, in that case, I'll get
Well,
on.
hang on, there's a preliminary. Is that for, the question I guess I have is, what you want us to discuss is you're seeking a non-cooperation, assessment department?
Correct.
And if you're gonna do that, I think we should, before going into camera, you should go over the
Okay,
basic. what you're
sorry,
seeking.
Mr. Chair, we just would need to go in camera for this portion
Decide.
to
Hear it.
decide if you'll hear it.
Well, if we're here the case at all,
There's no applicant present, correct?
Yeah, no.
yeah, there's no applicant present.
There's no applicant present, you'll need to go into camera to decide if you'll hear the item in their absence or not.
Okay. Because, okay, we can do that. We'll go camera. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will hear, item agenda matter number, 3 now. That's, and so I guess the question is, at this point, I understand, Ms. Scheipel, you have a preliminary matter that you want to bring forward?
Correct.
Okay,
Success request that the building approve be placed on applicant for not cooperation, section 53(3)(b) of the Municipal Assessment Act. And if a reduction in assessment is ordered, that it follows section 54(3)(2) of Municipal Assessment Act.
Okay, just please take us through the basis of why you're seeking that relief.
Let's open page 10. We did send request for income expenses information on April 11, 2024. By May on page number 11, a form we sent to submit back to us. Due date was May 2nd, 2024. On page 11 and 12 form, we submit together this letter on page number 10. On page number 13, we approach owner second time through certified tracking number. We sent on June 9 and June 14, we received signature available. On page 14, we have information of receiving our request for income expenses mailer, but we never received it back. That's why we're asking for not cooperation or reduction in assessment and should be postponed for 1 year if it's ordered. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Stephens, do you have any questions of the assessment department on the basis of the relief they're asking for?
No questions at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Moretsky. Do you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
And I don't have any questions either. So we'll have to go into camera to discuss whether we're going to grant that relief, Ms. Scheipel. Thank you very much. So Ms. Scheipel, I know there's no appearance from an applicant here, but we'd ask that you go through your material to establish how you got a valuation on the property of $2,002,000.
File number 24396, roll number 130-115-825-00. It's located at 5095 Erin Street, owner Erin Street Building Corporation. We assessed 2020 years with reference April 1st, 2023 at $2,002,000. The subject property is vehicle service garage, consists from 2 buildings, 2-story building. Original was built in 1916, additional was built in 2015, so we established effective years built 1986. Wall heights, original building 12 feet and new construction 25 feet. It's located manufacturing general, land area around 40,000 square feet, land area around 10,000 square feet, and leasable area 13,058 square feet. It's located in 180 Sargent Park. More photo presented on page number 2. Street view, 1 and 2 floor buildings. Subject property located northeast, northwest side of the city, rectangle shape of the building, of the land on page number 3. Manufacturing general zoning is district intend to provide for light manufacturing, processing, services, storage, wholesale and distribution operation with some limited outdoor operation and storage. We assess we have two income streams. So first we assess vehicle service garage at 7,523 square feet with overall $14.08. This rent very well supported by my comparables on bottom of same page. My comparables on Pembina, Erin, Logan, King, Edward, Sargent, built between 1977, 1990. Leases between 24,000 square feet to 5,400 square feet. Average rent $15.80 and median $14.88. We assess it's $14.08. We apply 2% for vacancy loss for all vehicle service garages to be consistent. Not operating expenses 3%. Shortfall for vacant space $6 per square foot. Our capitalization rate 7.1%, give us 1,405,000 in estimated value just for vehicle service garage. On page number 6, we assess office space of 5,535 square feet at $8.88. That very well supported on my comparables on bottom on page 6. I presented 8 comparables on Caledon, Warsaw, Norfolk Dame, Hargrave, building built between 1948 to 2002. Area between 500 square feet to 45,000 square feet. It gives us average of media $11.59 and media $9.80. We assess office space for $8.86. That's fair. But we apply a 6% vacancy loss for office building to be consistent, and not operating expenses 3%. Shortfall or vacant space will be $8 per square foot. Our capitalization rate 7%, give us estimate value of $600,000. On page number 7, it's summary of above valuation. They give us $2,200,000. That it's fair, it should be confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Stephenson?
I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Amiritsky, do you have any questions?
I do not, thank you.
And I don't either, so thank you very much. Okay. So we'll now go then to the last item on the agenda, which is the property at 1270 Archibald Street. And we have to go to the camera to determine whether we're going to hear this or not.
Again, wanted to ask.
Thank you. Ms. Shaba, I can indicate to you that we have determined we would like to hear this matter, so please take us through your evidence to indicate how the assessment department has found an assessed value of $917,000 on 1270 Archibald Street.
So the file number is 24-153. The applicant is More Dupis Enterprise Inc. The roll number for the subject property is 06022882500. Property address 1270 Archibald Street. Owner is More Dupis Enterprise Inc. The property assessment for the subject for roll year 2025 is $917,000, using the reference date as April 1, 2023. The property is taxable. The property is currently used as vehicle service garage with 2 buildings on it. with one story each, having one premises. The actual year built and the effective year built is 1989, with the zoning as C2 commercial community. The land area is 39,377 square feet, with gross floor area and leasable area has 2,686 square feet. The NCA for the subject property is 550 Nyquist Park. We recommend the 2025 assessed value of 970,000 for this property. Moving forward on page 2, the property was sold in 2009 for $600,000. We also found that there was a lease submitted for this property, which is owner occupied. Page 2 has some pictures of the subject property showing that it's one story. Page 3 informs that it's a triangular shaped lot. Page 4 shows the map of Winnipeg, showing that the property is located in the southeast corner of the city. Page 5 has some aerial photographs of the property from the top. On page 6, we can see the property is zoned as in C2, commercial community. This district is intended to accommodate more intensive commercial sites that do not have a local or neighborhood orientation. This district is intended to include attractive commercial, institutional, recreational, and service facilities needed to support the surrounding neighborhoods and broader community. There is one income approach used to assess the property. The premise area is 2851. It's a standard finish with a leasable area of 2,686 square feet. It has been rented out. As per our model, the table rent for this area should be $11.25, giving a potential rent of 30,218 square feet. We used a vacancy loss of 2%, expense at 3%, and a shortfall at $6 per square feet, which gives us a net operating income of 28,404 square feet, $25,000. This has been capitalized at 5.45%, giving an estimated value of $521,000. There are some rent comparables on the same page. So the NCA for this, the subject property was 550. We tried to find out the comparables as close as to the same NCA. From the comparable chart, we can see the mean rent was $16.08 and the median is $14.15 per square feet.
Okay. That completes your evidence?
Now I'll be moving over to the cost approach. So it's on page 11. The replacement cost of the building is $529,637. The depreciation on the building is $415,000. The depreciated cost of the building is $4,000. The total depreciated cost comes around $114,000 with the land value of $917,000, which bring the total value at $1,031,000. So from the cost approach, it could be seen that the income approach used to value the property is failed. Looking at some comparables for land, we have 6 comparables, which are vacant commercial, residential, vacant residentials. We try to find them as close as in the same neighborhood class. As per our land comparables, the mean rises at $42.92 and the median rises at $36.76. The subject property has been valued at $23.29, which is lower than what we have found in our comparables. So we would suggest that our value is fair and should be maintained at that point.
I would like to add that for income approach, I miss adjustment value of 396,000 for this triangle that property owner doesn't use it, just grass or forest.
Okay,
So when you're going on page number 7,
yes,
additional land value of 396,000 bring us to 917,000.
are you indicating you're trying to increase the assessed value by adding on additional value for the unused land?
We assessed at 917,000, but when I presented income approach, I miss additional land value. That's why it showed 521,000. So in line after capitalization value, we need additional land value of 396,000. It gives us 917,000.
Okay, but just to be clear, you're relying on the assessment that you're putting forward based on an income approach.
Yes, I rely to income approach.
Yeah,
And
so you're not trying to
we
increase.
provided,
That's fine. I just want to make sure you're not trying to increase the assessment.
no,
Okay.
just to bring income approach right to 917,000.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if that's the evidence, then
This triangle shape of property, owner doesn't use corner of this triangle, so we put like additional land value on it.
yeah, I see those between
Yeah,
narrow,
because
I guess Archibald on one side and the railway track on the other. It's pretty narrow. I don't know really how much value there's there, but anyway, you're not using it just to show value, so that's fine. Any questions, Mr. Stephenson?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky, any questions?
So the additional land value, if I look at page 5, is that treat area there that goes to a point from the car where the
Correct.
white car is?
yes, correct. If you open page 11, you can see land value only 917,000. Subject property assessed at land value. We try by this assessment approach to income approach.
Page 11 is the cost approach, right? The land
Yes.
value.
11 cost approach, you can see 917, just clean land value, what is right now under assessment.
So that's the total land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why is that land not
over.
why is that land not included in the land area to begin with there on page
I
1?
just missed this part.
No, but my question is, so this 39,377, does that not include that additional land or?
When we try to defend this land value 970,000, we try to it's artificial market income, it's more artificial. We try to defend. We have to put additional land value because this triangle on top doesn't use by owner. We are assessing just building improvements and land what he used around building.
Okay, and that's typical in these kinds of cases, that's how you
Yes.
divide it up. Okay, no, just wanted to make sure I understood the process, that's all.
Thank you.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay, and I don't have any questions either, so thank you very much. So we have now heard all of the items on the agenda today, so we're gonna close this hearing. We'll render our decisions and they'll be mailed out as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your attendance, Ms. Scheibel.
Thank you.